Hey, I'm right back with another video. I wanted to share my thoughts on the wonderful video that I got a chance to watch this morning. It was called My Thoughts on Why People Don't Apologize or Admit Guilt. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that of course, pride. Pride is the number one reason why people don't want to admit guilt. Also, the fact that when in the initiation of a person in a targeting situation, everyone is erroneously convinced that they're right, and so they make such a big issue of their cause and their reasons why they are targeting a person, that they basically are so overzealous that to admit that they are wrong in a situation like that, they risk the chance of making a fool of themselves. And of course, because they make a fool of themselves, they have a heavy weight on their shoulders, meaning that they have an obligation really to apologize, but they won't do that. As a matter of fact, you will not hear a word from them. But they always have the comfort of the group mentality behind it. And so a lot of it has to do with cognitive dissonance. And cognitive dissonance, Wikipedia's definition, is in the field of psychology. Cognitive dissonance is a mental discomfort, psychological stress experienced by a person who simultaneously holds two or more contradictory beliefs, ideas, or values. The occurrence of cognitive dissonance is a consequence of a person's performing an action that contradicts personal beliefs, ideas, and values, and also occurs when confronted with new information that contradicts said beliefs, ideas, and values. In a theory of cognitive dissonance, this was written in 1957, Leon Festinger proposed that human beings strive for eternal psychological consistency in order to mentally function in the real world. That a person who experiences eternal inconsistencies tends to become psychologically uncomfortable, and so is motivated to reduce the cognitive dissonance either by changing parts of the cognition to justify the stressful behavior, or add new parts to the cognition that causes the psychological dissonance, and by actively avoiding social situations and contradictory information that are likely to increase the magnitude of the cognitive dissonance. So oftentimes when you write, I've noticed that when I put together a video that really stresses the point to where it cannot be argued, to where it cannot be not denied, oftentimes I've noticed that I've lost subscribers or viewers. And this is often the case because the very fact that these facts are being presented to them makes them not want to hear it, okay? In a situation like, for example, Alita is somebody who claims to go to the Catholic Church. She talks about the father that she is, so very proud of being associated with, and her activities in the church. But clearly by her actions, she doesn't show or demonstrate any real true form of Christianity or any strong devotion to it. So in her situation, and in my family situation, and many other people who got involved in this, cognitive dissonance is quite prevalent. But they have the support of the group to keep them in that mindset, so they can ignore the facts that are in front of them, and it's comfortable for them to do that because it's too much for them. All of their entire campaign, smear campaign, was such a intense and widespread and formulating structure to where these people actually develop relationships that never once existed. It was a cause that everybody thought was truly worthwhile pursuing, and when it finds out it's a failure, flop, and completely illegal, unjustified, and it's wrong, and they should be in jail for what they've done, then they want to be in a state of denial, okay? And so they return back to their original groups, and they go and they have their little luncheon and their buffet dinners at their churches, and they can continue to be fed a lot of bullshit so that they don't have to feel guilty about what they've done. So when it comes to pride, we all know what the good book says about pride. There's a proper way of having pride, okay? There's somebody who, for example, if they accomplished a job and it's well done, and they feel a sense of completeness, okay? But a pride is when you have a showy display of, what I mean by that is like you're a constant bragger. You're a constant one-up type person. And this is the case with a lot of these bogus so-called religious freaks that got involved in my targeting, okay? But the reason why they find it very difficult it's very difficult to apologize for somebody who basically ripped you out of everything that you've owned. Okay, so then that's why you have a lot of the silence, okay? That, the guilt and the admission, the inability to admit their guilt is a very hard thing for them to do for several reasons. It hurts their pride. It hurts their pride, you know, and how it makes them look in front of other people. But yet they're willing to scapegoat somebody, better basically destroy and trash over somebody's life, and then walk all over them and basically leave them in a situation of destitution and facing near death. Okay, because everybody knows that that's exactly what blacklisting is. So, so when I think of the wonderful video that I had the opportunity to watch, it made me really think about those questions, because it is a lot of pride, and it is a lot of arrogance on their part, and it really shows their true nature, you know, to behave in the way that they do. And really what needs to be done, I mean, I'm doing everything I can do. You know, I have done everything I can do. And I am I would say that I'm a good person. I mean, as good as a person, human can possibly be. That's not to say I'm perfect by any means, okay? But in this case, I'm completely innocent. And I have been persecuted, you know, ferociously, you know, by a community that was basically believing in a lot of hot air, fluff, and filler, and that claims to be a Christian community. And to admit that they're wrong, you know, is very difficult for them to do. I strongly do suspect that I have more viewers on YouTube than you know, that actually shows on my channel. But you know, there's a lot of cognitive dissonance that permeates throughout the United States. For example, so many people hold this belief that their views of Christianity is correct, okay? And they feel comfortable in that, meaning they can go out and they can do all kinds of bad things, and they can live their life in any way that they want to. They could be debaucherous, they can be slanderers, they can be liars, which is exactly what these people have done. And never feel that any sort of spiritual consequence for it, okay? And that's their view of serving God. And that's the way that they've been doing it for years, okay? That's how their mom did it, that's how their grandmother did it. And when somebody presents the facts that you are fucking wrong, okay, because Jesus' words don't mean a darn thing to you, and it is quite obvious and apparent, then they don't want that to be that information to get out, and they don't want people, they feel very uncomfortable about that. Okay, it's something that makes people feel uncomfortable. The truth always makes people feel uncomfortable, okay? So that's one of the reasons why a lot of people who seek the truth in different issues, like whether that be political, religious, or just something that relates to social issues, people become uncomfortable with it because it hurts their feelings, is basically what it is. And I'm far aware of that, okay? But meanwhile, people such as myself get trampled on, and other targeted individuals. So I don't expect an apology from them, okay? They're never going to apologize, okay? Regardless, okay? Regardless of their religious views, because we know their religious views are full of shit, okay? And I'm here to tell you that I believe that modern day Christianity is bullshit. I think it's the worst thing that ever happened to mankind. I think it's a pestilence on the earth, and that is not to say that I have anything against Christianity, because I don't. I don't have anything against people who truly want to serve God. I have an issue with frauds, is what I have an issue with. And that's the biggest issue when it comes to people who don't want to apologize, because they don't want to be exposed. Wrapping up this video, I'll be back with another one later.